Hello everyone, how are you? Can you hear me okay? If you could just maybe give a few messages that you can hear me okay. My name is Ankur, we'll just get started. Okay, perfect. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Um, so welcome everyone. Thank you very much for joining today. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate your time. We'll go through the new functions that we have added in MarketXLS, and I'm going to walk you through how you can take advantage of them. Let's give it just one more minute to see if there is anyone who is who wants to join, and then we'll get started. And if you could also tell me if you could see my screen, see my screen, okay? Perfect, wonderful. Okay, so thank you everyone. Let's get started. And I'm joined with my colleague Robin here, who is going to be answering questions and helping me as well. So let's get started. So I think most of you already are aware of what MarketXLS does, but essentially, let's look at the agenda for our meeting today. So we'll go through an overview of what we overview about myself and MarketXLS, and then I'm going to talk about why MarketXLS has these new functions, which we are calling RTI functions, which essentially means real-time intelligence functions. And then there are various details about these RTI functions like absolute time functions, relative time functions. And many of you also have raised some issues in the past, and we have made huge improvements in this release. And I'm going to talk about those. We have also integrated MarketXLS with ChatGPT, which can enhance your overall experience while using MarketXLS or Excel in general, right? So I'm going to talk about and show you that implementation. We'll have a Q&A session for 10 minutes, and then, of course, we'll go through the summary. So just a bit of by way of introduction, my name is Ankur Mohan, and I'm very excited to be your host today. So a brief overview, which we have already covered. Essentially, if you are new to MarketXLS, we are a comprehensive suite of tools designed to help you analyze market data efficiently, especially within spreadsheets. And our platform offers a wide range of functions that bring real-time financial data right to your spreadsheet to help you make informed decisions quickly. A little bit about myself. I have an overall 20 years of experience in data and analytics industry, and over last 7-8 years, I'm running MarketXLS, and my only passion is to help the investors make most out of their financial data, especially in the environment of the spreadsheets. So that's just a little bit of introduction about myself. A bit of house cleaning. I think you know how to there is a Q&A tab in the webinar. You can ask your questions there, and there's a chat tab as well. But I think the best place is if you write anything that you want to ask in the Q&A. We'll collect all these questions and we'll take them up as we go along. Okay. So it looks like you can hear me okay and everything is good. So let's get straight to the point about the RTI functions. So what happens is, I think most of you are already aware about, how do you stream real-time market data in Excel using MarketXLS. There are functions like =, QM _ stream _ last that give you real-time streaming prices for options, stocks, ETFs, and indices. and in your spreadsheet. Now, the good thing is, okay, so you can see what's going on right now in your Excel, in your tickets, right? You can see the price, the change. But then the problem is, you know, that data is just in one cell. It's moving all the time. There is nothing actually you can do to see, okay, what has happened in last 5 minutes or what has happened in last 20 minutes. Of course, you can use some functions which are like intraday functions. You can go back in history and then, do your back testing and see what's going on. But when it comes to real time analytics, I don't know you are able to do that. So essentially, that's why we have introduced these RTI functions. So where it can help you with immediate data access, with latest market movement, with real time data and enhanced analysis. So think about it this way: we, when you're looking at charts, right? You cannot look at like hundreds of charts simultaneously, right? But you can, of course, see hundreds of rows in Excel uh, with conditional formatting, and you can actually, see what's going on with hundreds of, stickers, basically, right? So, just a quick question before I move ahead: are you able to see the slide which says why RTI functions, or you are looking at something else? So you can see the slide. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go to the next one, which is how these functions work, right? So as I explained earlier, so what happens right now is you write a stock ticker and you write a formula, and the number starts to go into Excel cells, right? This is the existing situation, and this can still work exactly the same way. However, what we have done is, in this new situation where what we have said is, okay, if you are streaming a stock ticker or any option ticker or any indices ticker, we do not directly send that to an Excel cell, but we put that data into some kind of a memory pipeline, right? And this memory pipeline essentially is kind of, a memory variable, you can call it, wherein all this information is first going through that pipe, right? In a first in, first out kind of a methodology. So what happens is, as a new price comes in with a timestamp, we, instead of sending that directly to your Excel cell, we also store that in the memory, right? And since all this data is stored real time, every second, every 2 seconds into the memory, it is extremely fast to access and, query that information and perform analytics from it, and then, do all kind of analysis, right? And then that information and analytics can be delivered to the Excel cells, right? So I hope this makes sense, but essentially, I wanted to go a little bit deep into how we are doing it so that you are aware in terms of how these functions work essentially. Now, the good thing is, if you don't want to use these functions start with equal sign RTI in your Excel. If you don't use these functions, nothing changes, right? There is no delay. Everything works exactly the same way. Only if you start writing in your Excel sheet these equal sign RTI functions, then we'll start to create the pipes for them so that you can analyze that information in a bit more detail, right? Okay, so let's go to our first function, which is the RTI stream value function. And I'm going to, of course, show you this slide, but I'm going to show you this working as well. So let me quickly, briefly give you an overview of what this function does. This function essentially is saying, okay, stream me a certain value, right? And I want to walk through these arguments in that function. The first argument is the symbol, which is, the ticker symbol that you want to stream a value for. The interval in minutes is the grouping of data, right? So when you put this interval as 5, for example, it basically means what you're saying is, okay, give me this information every 5, in the 5-minute interval, right? So let's say you start with 9 o'clock, and then what is the value at 9:05, what is the value at 9:10, and so on and so forth, right? Now this interval, if you put that to 0, it means there is no grouping at all. So as the data is coming into your sheets, it is straight away flowing into your Excel cells, right? So that's the interval. Look back period essentially uh, lightly define how much is the size of the pipe, like how much data you want to store in the memory for collection. The default is 50, and then in the field you can have last or volume. So typically what we have seen is for all the indicators that are being calculated, only two things are primary, right? Which is the last price and the volume, which is the transaction price and the volume. So these are the two fields which you can change here. Now, another important concept is the index, right? So let's say you put an index of 0. It basically means from that pipe, give me the last value. And when you say index of 1, it basically means give me the previous value. When you say 2, it means the previous value from the previous value. So in this function, for example, what you're saying is for Apple, group the data which you have in the pipe in every 15 in every 5-minute periods, and I need the last price, and then give me the zeroth value, which is the most current value, right? If you were to write 1 in the index, it will give you the previous value. So let me now quickly show you my screen and show you this function working, and we can start to see some practical examples of all these functions in terms of how they work. So give me just one quick second. I'm loading up my Excel. Okay, I hope you can see my Excel. But as you can see, these are the functions which we have implemented. And you see, this was the function that we were talking about. And this function is equal sign RTI underscore stream underscore value. And as the new numbers are coming in, notice the time here. Uh, every 2 seconds, as the new numbers are coming in, you are streaming the price and the volume. And notice in this case, the interval that I have given is 0, which basically means that give me everything. Any number which is coming in, I need all the I need all the price. I need all the volume. Right? So if I were to change this indicator or this value to 1, it would start to aggregate that information, which is what I have done here, for example, right? So here, if you notice, the second argument is 1, which basically means aggregate the prices which are coming here in groups of 1, right? And notice the difference in time here. This is the difference in time in the seconds, right? So you have 19, 12, 13, 19, 12, 16, and so on and so forth. And as you start collecting this information goes into groups of 1-minute periods here, right? So in the field, if you mention the time, it basically gets you the time. If you mention the field name, which could be the last price or the volume, then it gets you that particular information, right? So so this is kind of a moving table for you to see what is going on right now over a period of time, right? And of course, you can extend this, and you can extend it to any length, at least 50 minutes, where you can see, okay, what's going on in the previous numbers as well, right? Now, as this data is being collected, it is able to go back in time more and more, right? So you start with 1913 here, then as the new data will keep coming in, all these formulas will fill up with an answer for you. Okay? Now, for volume, every number that comes in is actually accumulated volume. So now we have some more functions here, which are like RTI volume, RTI open, high, low, close. And when you do this function, which is RTI volume, it actually takes the difference between the periods and then gets you the volume that occurred within that particular period, right? So now that I've shown you this function, let's go back to the slides and let's look at the second category of functions. So there are two basic category of the functions here. The first category is the absolute time functions, right? So the absolute time functions, they allow you to get the historical data at specific time during the trading day, right? So many of you over this period have told us, and we also, talk to a lot of traders and investors, and they tell us that market behaves in certain patterns during the day in different times, right? So if there is, like, say, in the morning there is more volatility, or towards the end of the market there is a lot more volatility. So what happens is sometimes you want to retrieve what exactly happened at that particular point in time, or from that point in time, right? So you need to find out, you have that reference point in your mind, right? So in this case, when you have these absolute time functions, you can actually pass in an argument, and that argument can be passed like this in absolute terms, right? So where you can say, okay, give me the price at minutes. So we have created these functions with short forms so that it's a bit more easier to type in. But essentially, RTI is, of course, this category of function. And the second one is give me the price at minute, right? For this symbol and this time, right? So you could just write 0930 in double quotes, or refer to a cell which has the time as string mentioned there, right? So this function, for example, will give you, okay, what was the price of Apple at that point in time, 9:30 a.m., and then this one will give you what was the volume at 9:30. This will give you, okay, from right now, how much the price has changed from 9:30, right, or any other period, and then here how much the price has changed in percent terms from that particular point in time, right? So these functions can retrieve the precise volume and price information for a particular time period. If you are used to using some of the close historical functions of MarketXLS, where you can, where you get the price of a stock or a ticker on a specific day, you can think about it in the same way, that this is the price and the volume of a ticker at a specific point in time during the day, right? Okay, so now let's go to the Excel, and let me show you these functions real quick. So if you see here in column Y, so what I've done is I've defined these functions, and and they are referring to two things. So for example, this price at minute function is referring to this function is referring to the symbol which is in B3, which is SPY, and it is referring to Y1, which is here. This is the time. Now, since we do not, this is an old sheet. All I have to do is just pick one of the time from here. So, for example, 1914 is when I had a value. So I'm going to just change this to 1914, and all these numbers. Oh, sorry, 19. Second. 1914. Then when I do 1914, you can see the price at 1914 was 528.32. So if I go to 1914, the close price was this one, this number, 528.32, 1914, and the volume was 47791, this one, and then the change from the current price, which is the current streaming price, is this much, and what is the percentage change from that point in time, right? So these are your absolute functions essentially, and they take the argument which is the exact time period, right? Okay, so let's now go back to the next category of functions, which is the relative time functions, right? So the relative time functions, they get you the information relative to the current time, right? So sometimes you don't want a specific time period, but you want to say, okay, what has happened in last 5 minutes or last 10 minutes or last X minutes, right? So they can help you analyze recent price movements and changes over specified intervals. And these functions, they essentially work like this, right? So you would say, of course, RTI, because this is the RTI category of functions, and then you will say, okay, what was the price X minutes ago, right? So here you would say 10 in minutes, right? So you could say, okay, the price 10 minutes ago was X number, and then of course, that 10 minute is relative, right? It's not an absolute time. So these are like relative time functions essentially, right? Similarly, you can get the price, change percent. You can say something like, okay, what was the highest price in last 10 minutes, right? And that is relative as the new prices are coming in. You can see what's going on in the price in last, always in 10-minute periods, right? And then similarly, you can use the lowest price function as well. So these functions are similar to, some functions that we have if you are probably using it, which is your X day high and X day low, which essentially tell you, okay, what was the highest price of a ticker in last 50 days, 100 days, and so on and so forth, right? So now let's look at our Excel again and see these functions working. So if you see this one here, this category of functions, RTI underscore price X minute ago, highest price in X minutes, lowest price in X minutes, price change since 3 minutes, and price change in percentage since 3 minutes, right? So that is another category of functions, which is the relative time functions, right? Now, let's go to some of the indicators that we can get using these functions, which is the relative real-time technical indicators, right? So many of you might use functions like or indicators like RSI, SMA, EMA. So what we have done is we have created in the same category of functions the RTI RSI function, which takes a stock ticker and says, okay, give me for last 20 periods and give me an RSI on the last price in every 5 minutes, in every 5 minute intervals, right? So similarly, you can use this function like RTI SMA, RTI EMA to get you these indicators to identify trends and patterns across the ticker symbols real time, right? So these functions, the way they work is essentially, let me go back and show you that. So if you see this, these columns, column A, D, and AE here. So here you have minute by minute time, and you have the prices minute by minute, which is essentially the last price at the end of that minute, right? And here you have, okay, the SMA, which is a simple implementation of this function, which says, okay, for every 1 minute period, give me the most current simple moving average of this data, and looking at 7 minute periods, right? Which is the seven. Look at the 7 past minutes and tell me the current SMA and EMA and so forth, right? So this is how you can use these RTI, SMA, and EMA functions. Now, we can do these now because we are collecting that information in the memory of the system. If we did not collect this information, then you would need to get the history first and then use that historical price time series prices to calculate these answers, right? But then they work with the same technology as the streaming data, so sometimes it is extremely useful that you can see them real time moving, right? Now, one thing I would like to quickly highlight here while I'm at this one, that these numbers, we have tested them in every way, and these numbers are going to be 100% accurate. However, this is not a low latency system, right? Uh, it is it the default frequency of updates to your Excel with the streaming function is every 2 seconds, right? So if there is a message that becomes missing, it may not 100% match, right? But it would be good enough to give you the best indications in terms of how the price and the volume are moving, essentially, right? So these are the RTI, SMA, EMA functions. So now we will be adding more and more functions into this category. So I would, request you, you can send us an email or any other indicator that you generally look at real time. For example, Bollinger Bands or, momentum indicators or any other indicators that you want us to include. We can definitely include that in the system. Okay. Now let's look at the next category. I mean, next thing that I wanted to talk about is, over this period of time, we have noticed and, of course, got various emails sometimes that there are some issues with regards to, the speed and the loading times, and sometimes you're not able to authenticate with Code Media, and sometimes the menu disappears or there is a hang. So what we have done is in this release, we have made huge optimizations in terms of any exceptions which are there, optimizing the speed to make sure your experience is much better when it comes to using MarketXLS, right? So this version will be available to you on the 1st of July, and I'm going to now talk about ChatGPT. Just give me 1 second. So let's go to the next one. So what we have done in this version is we have also integrated MarketXLS with ChatGPT, and the way this works is essentially it works using their APIs, right? So if you go to openai.com, in the email that we will send you, you will also have the link to sign up to their API, right? Essentially, we don't hold the, credentials. So it's your own, information, your own API. But once you get the API key, you can simply go to settings and click on settings. And then you should be able to see a new tab here, which is OpenAI, where you put in your API key, click on save and test connection. Once you have this done, essentially you can start using and getting ChatGPT integration with MarketXLS. Now, primary integration that we have right now is with this menu system. So when you click on ChatGPT here, a sidebar will open up, right? Now, in this sidebar, what you can do is you can ask questions about your Excel real time, live, from ChatGPT, right? So let's say I'm looking at these numbers. It's so difficult unless I have some conditional formatting or some other way or some more my calculations to kind of understand what's really going on, right? Because then we have to, it's tricky, right? So now that we have AI and there is so much intelligence coming in with AI, we don't have to look at this data all the time on a regular interval and get some answers. And that is where ChatGPT and other AI that we'll be adding will help, I think, right? So the way this works is the first thing that we want to give this interface is a range of cells, which essentially is going to be the data that ChatGPT or AI would need to read to give us answers, right? Now, essentially, there are some example queries here, like, you can ask questions like, okay, what is the outlook for next 5 minutes? What is the next outlook for next 15 minutes? Now, if you have like a historical time series prices, if you want to find, some information from that, you can get this as well, right? But these are just examples. You don't have to use them. You use these prompts, right? You can just type your own. But just to show you an example, the first thing that we'll do is we'll give it the data. So if you click on select data, then this kind of a pop-up will open up, right? It will allow you to select your data series here, right? Once you click OK, then ChatGPT now knows, or this system knows, that we are working with this range, and it tells you the highlighted range here. You can also validate the range which you are working with by clicking on this select button here. So when you select it, it selects the range that you're working with, right? Now, OpenAI and its models do not have most latest information. The latest model that they released, which was ChatGPT-O, that also had the cutoff date of their knowledge base as October of 2023. Now, and of course, that is for other information. And when it comes to real-time financial information, they don't have it, right? So that's where we kind of come in. And what we have is, in your Excel, we have all this information, which we can then pass on to ChatGPT and ask questions, right? So in this case, now that we know that we are working with this range, we can actually ask questions from ChatGPT. And the good thing is, if you were to just use their interface, right, you copy this data, put that in their interface, and it will give you an answer, right? But then in the case of our situation, we are looking at real-time data which is changing every minute, every 2 minutes. It's fast-moving markets, right? So here what we do is we have provided a functionality where, you will constantly keep on asking the question about the data as the data is moving, right? So in this case, let's say I want to ask, given this real-time data, give me the outlook of the price movement in next 5 minutes, and only give me one word answer. What's going on? Is it bearish, bullish, or neutral? Of course, you can't rely on this trading, and your use case will be completely different. But I'm just giving you an example. And here, what I'll do is I will click on refreshing every 1 minute. So what this will do is it will now every 1 minute start giving me answers about this table, and of course this table, since is changing every 1 minute, it will give you different answers as the prices and the markets are moving over a period of time. So let's give it a few seconds to give us an answer and see if we can really do something with it. So essentially, it might sound very, very easy, straightforward, right? But actually it does work, because, I'm not suggesting that you use this methodology, but I did trade with this methodology and it did work, right? So, but it has various use cases, looking at volume, looking at historical prices. So let's give it a few more seconds and see its first answer. Okay, it says neutral, right? And next minute, it'll say, depending on the price, something similar, right? So the good thing is it's completely agnostic of what information you have in your Excel. You can ask generic questions about your normal Excel data as well in the same situation, right? Let's give it a few more seconds to get one more answer, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, now it says bullish. So essentially, I think you get the idea in terms of how the functionality works, and and you can start using it if you like the way this works, and if you think that this could be of some help to you. The good thing is you can ask questions on many symbols, ask questions like performance and variance, If you have like a portfolio sheet here with lots of tickers, you can say, okay, in this data, give me the ones which are top performing or the ones with this historical data. Should I still be holding this or not, and so on and so forth, right? Okay, so now let's go back to our presentation real quick. Okay, so I think this took slightly less time than I thought this will take, but essentially this is what I had. Now we can open this for questions and answers. So if you have any questions, feel free to put in there, and I can answer those. And I see a couple of them here already. So Paresh is saying, can you also display the bid and ask at the time of the last trade? So Paresh, to answer your question, we do get messages on bid and ask, right? But in the first release, we are only looking at the last price and the volume. But we can definitely do bid and ask. We are still optimizing the speed in terms of handling everything in memory. So we wanted to restrict, the fields to make sure, it is still, pretty fast. So that's the main thing why we did not have bid and ask. But yes, you would be able to do that at some point, maybe in coming releases. Yeah. Okay, so Rick, how does the arrow in volume work? Is that embedded with MarketXLS or it is formatted in the spreadsheet? So, Rick, the arrow is essentially normal Excel conditional formatting system. So, if you were to select a group of cells and just use the conditional formatting in Excel, that's what it is. It's nothing about MarketXLS. It's just a normal Excel, conditional formatting system like this. Okay, so I would like to access RSI ASCP. From there, I would be glad to suggest others. Okay, perfect. So, James, absolutely. I'm going to, this version would be available with RSI in a couple of days for you. And yeah, thank you for, testing it out. And we have been testing with other users as well, but I really appreciate your help and contribution here. But yes, RSI version will be available to you around 1st of July towards the end of the day. Okay, with regards to ChatGPT, can I see my screen contents or can it also access formulas? Okay, so with regards to ChatGPT, the way this works is it uses your content. It's specifically the values in Excel. It does not look into your formula. However, if you want it to look into your formulas, then you use this Excel formula, which is called equal sign formula text, right? When you were to give him or give ChatGPT these cells, then it will be able to see, your formulas as well. But when you're looking at these values here, like price, SMA, it's just looking at the values, not at the underlying formula. Okay. So, with regards to chat, okay, what if you ask ChatGPT what the price will be in next 1 minute or 5 minutes? Yeah, I haven't tried that, but yeah, I mean, you can give it a try. I mean, we can give it a try now if it can actually predict the price, right? But typically, it requires some little bit of prompting and adjusting your prompt to get the desired answer, right? So I would think typically it would say that, okay, it does not know the answer. So let's try one more thing here. So I'm going to stop this auto refresh and I can say, give me a price prediction number in next 5 minutes, right? I think probably it won't be able to do that, but we'll give it a try and then we see, right? But yeah, I mean, as you prompt it in different ways, it can get you various answers, right? So it all depends on the prompts. Now, as we go along in this AI journey and try to get more enhancement and more value to you using AI, what we'll do is we'll start to optimize these prompts and give you the default prompt that always return an answer in a specific way, right? In like a JSON object or some things which can be parsed and shown in a better way, right? So as we go along, we are going to add more and more prompts here, basically. But then, of course, these are your prompts, right? What we have done is the integration, right? And think about this as using ChatGPT in your own machine. We have just made it easier so you can, connect with Excel, the AI systems. Okay. Okay, you know what? It does say bullish price prediction and it gave me a price, right? Now, honestly, I don't know. I mean, it all depends on how you want to use it. So as you play with it, you would know if this can be of some use for you. Okay. Okay. So will you send out the slides of this presentation? Yes, I will send out the slides of this presentation, and also we are will send out the release version and release notes. We just put out a blog as well, right? Which actually explains all these functions, how do they work, their uh, different arguments that they take, the functionalities, and those kind of things. So we'll send out the slides. Can you make a comment regarding data or spreadsheet confidentiality with regards to ChatGPT? Okay, very good point, Philip. So essentially, this ChatGPT integration is done in a way so that it is directly communicating with ChatGPT. So anything that you write in there does not come or touches our server. It directly goes to as an API call to ChatGPT, right? So what happens is there is no interaction between us, right? So this is the same way as you are taking your data and putting it ChatGPT, right? So this there is we don't get any interface in between. Okay, so Tom, I would like to calculate a strike price of 20% OTM in the second month strike. What would I use? Okay, so we have updated a lot of functions with regard to strike next, right? So we have added more and more functionality for strike next function, which can actually now say things like just don't give me the price at an index, but give me the price which is 20% above the last price. So earlier you used to have a function which is called strike next, where you give it a stock ticker and then you give it a comma and says zero. So zero basically means add the money number, right? Now in the second argument, uh, I will put out some more notes here, but you could say something like near underscore 460, right? Oh, sorry, this should be uh, this here. So it give you, the price nearest to X number, right? And that X number can be X% of the last price, right? So there are more arguments that you can put in here. So for example, if I were to say 461, I think it'll still say 460, right? So I think with using the strike next function, Tom, you can get the 20% OTM in each second month strike. Okay, will you give an example of using the functions below? New formula to retrieve company's most recent earnings date and time. For example, previous earnings report date, symbol, strike next, function update, near value. Okay, so Omar, I just explained the near value function. Uh, I think there are a couple of more arguments with this strike next function, like near value, X% above Y, and so on and so forth. What I'm going to do is, to this group, I'm going to send out a note with all the possible options. And that actually reminds me the other point which I wanted to update you. I understand there have been many functions which we have been adding, but they all need to be going to the functions page. So we are a bit slow on that, and that's my fault. So I think we are going to focus very, a lot on this documentation piece, where every different possibility of all the functions will be there in your functions browser. Okay, and with regards to the retrieves company's most recent earning date and time, I think it's the function is called just earnings date, equal sign earnings date. So if you were to write a function called, let's put in a ticker symbol here, I'm going to write earnings date. I think that's the one that you would want to be using. Okay, so the next one is with regards to time of the most recent earning date. I'm not very sure, but I can come back to you on that one. So the next question is from Rick. So we can have all the formulas you went over. Yeah, so essentially for existing subscribers, it is all there. You can have everything that I just presented. Yeah. Okay. Can you over how to enter RTI formula to reference a symbol like I'm 5-year old? Okay. So basically, this RTI formula, right? So you would simply, okay, so you know what? You would simply write RTI RSI. So to calculate RSI, first of all, you need a symbol, right? So you give it the ticker symbol. That's the first thing that you need. The second most important thing that you need is how far you want to go back and what period RSI you're looking at. So think about it this way, like when you're looking at charts on TradingView or any other charting platform, you're looking at a 1-minute chart or a 5-minute chart or a 10-minute chart, right? That is how the data is grouped, right? So that is interval. That is the second argument that you would need, which is in this case, I'm going to use, let's say, 1 minute. The look back is essentially is the how many periods you want to look to get that answer, right? Which is essentially, people say 14-day RSI, 7-day RSI, and so on and so forth. So you would just put in how many day or how many period RSI. Field, you could even ignore it, because even if you ignore it, it will take the last price because that's the default. But sometimes you might want to see, okay, how is the RSI doing on the volume? Okay, is the RSI on volume increasing or not, right? And slope and so on and so forth, right? So essentially, but the function that will release in a couple of days would actually, by default, you would not have to do these. You would simply just say, give me, uh, 7-period, 1-minute interval RSI on SPY. That's it, right? But this one I'm going to update a little bit more. So for example, now it gives me like 47 RSI, which essentially is the from that 7-minute period. Okay, so I hope that answers the RSI, Adena. And can you write this? Okay, so right now in this version, we have not implemented that functionality to write GPT answers result into cells, right? Now, but then that is something which we have been asked, and we are going to do that. Okay, Paresh, when I use my ChatGPT API key, can I specify which model to use? So by default, the model that we hard coded in there is their latest model, which is ChatGPT 4.0, right? Now, um, we have not created any mechanism for you to change it right now, but since that's the best model that they have and the cheapest as well, I would like to think, why would you use something else, right? But then, if there is a necessity, then if it is must, then we can, tell you a way to change that as well. It's all local with your machine and ChatGPT. So, so that's we use a GPTO. Okay, so Omar, thank you very much. That works for the front one. Okay. So the strikes or second and third month are not always the same. Okay. So Tom, for the strikes, I think there is another function which is expiration next, and in the strike next, there is another argument which is actually the um, expiration date as well, right? But I need to honestly double check that for you from my colleague, and I can answer that for you in an email. Okay. Okay, you showed an option template in the email you sent for this webinar. When can we access this information to build that option chain template? Okay, so that option chain template should already be available for you, James. So if you were to log in to the MarketXLS, so once you are logged in, you can simply download the option chain option chain template or any other template from the template store like this, right? So all these templates are available in the uh, templates section of the website. Okay, perfect. So I think that was mostly what I wanted to cover. What we'll do is I will take notes of all these questions, right? And if I missed out anything, I'm going to email you the answers on an email individually. But if you have anything else, feel free to reach out to us. We are here to work with you and get you, the best experience when it comes to Excel and spreadsheets is concerned. And we are working day in day out to make sure your sheets remain stable. And they just are extremely optimized, right? So yeah, if there is anything else. Uh, Let us know. I'm going to be here on this because we put the time for 1.5 hours, right? So I'm going to be here for another half an hour, but essentially the main content of the webinar is done. So if you want to leave, feel free. But if you want to ask any other questions or just hang out with us, that's absolutely fine. Okay. So thank you very much, all of you again. I'm here in case you have anything else to talk about. Yeah.
Ankur, you may want to invite someone who wants to talk by allowing them to talk on voice, and they can ask questions to you that way also.
Yeah, feel free to raise your hand so I can, just in this system try and, uh, enable your voice if you want. Thank you, Philip. Thank you, James. Thank you, Adina. Thank you, David.
Hey, Ankur.
Hi, Paresh. How are you?
Good, good. Hey, great webinar and really appreciate it. What other data feeds are you going to add? Are you adding DX feed or any other data feeds?
We are in conversation with DXFeed. Yes. Yeah.
Great. Okay,
Uh,
good to know.
the next will be DXFeed. Yeah. That's the main
Uh,
main thing. Yeah.
And then you'll have futures and futures options as well.
We already have features and features options in existing feeds.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
good to know. All right, I'm gonna drop off. Thanks, Robin, Ankur.
Thank you,
Great.
Paresh. Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
Paresh. Bye.
When they become less people, Ankur, you can simply we can allow them to talk, so people can talk if they have any questions, or you want to show them something new. What else is coming up, Ankur? Anything new which is coming up? Uh,
Yeah. So the most important thing that we're doing now is essentially the comprehensive documentation on all the functions, and that is the we're going to be focusing on that one to make sure that you have the best information available. I realize that over this period of time, there is a lot of functions that we have been building, but they're not being used to the best extent, right?
mhm,
So we are going to be adding a lot of documentation around those functions. We are also going to be moving a lot of the functions from our servers to local machine calculations so that
mhm,
they are extremely fast, especially functions like the fair value of individual options, the
mhm,
Black-Scholes model functions. All those functions will we have moved many of them to
mhm,
the local calculation, and also functions which involve trading. Like think or sim functions, the radial functions, they all will be moved to the local
mhm,
calculation, so everything becomes extremely fast. So our focus for next 1 month is primarily, of course, to get this RTI functions released, and most importantly, the experience that you have when using Excel for your use cases, right? And we want to make sure that these are the best of the best possible within Excel environment. So that's the
mhm.
main couple of main areas that we are currently working with. Yeah, working on.
All right.
So apart from that, there is also a lot of optimizations with regards to cleaning up some legacy functions.
Mhm,
So over this historical time period, we created many functions which are kind of legacy, and
mhm,
they're not being used too much, right? But then we never delete a function. We always add new one. We just simply hide them. So in
mhm,
case there is some someone using that function, those functions will continue to work in their spreadsheets, without any problem. But
mhm,
then when you're trying to search for that new function, it just won't show up as a new function, right? So, for
mhm,
example, there were some similar functions like equal sign RT, which
mhm,
were to connect with bar chart data feeds and then drive the real time prices. We
mhm,
and these functions will still work, but they will be they'll be not shown as such, when you search for it, right? Because we have done the analysis and we know that they're not being used. So the focus is essentially to optimize the overall experience, not only when it comes to searching for functions, finding all the arguments, the right documentation, but also the speed and the stability of the product.
there's someone asking about the recording, Ankur.
Oh, yeah. This webinar recording will be sent out to you, and we are going to, it'll be like an online recording, and you can just watch it anytime you want. So that should not be a problem. Okay, Donovan, sure, no problem. So when searching for strikes, so Tom is asking, when searching for strikes in MSFT, the first 4 expirations have half point strikes. After that, no. Is there some way MarketXLS can determine the closest strikes in the back month strikes? So do you mean like, let me think, the closest strike in the back month? So Tom, I don't know, what exactly do you mean by back month? Do you mean like the expirations, like last month's expirations, or do you mean the current expiration, but I don't understand the back month. So if you could explain that, I should be able to answer that.
Ankur, turn him into a
Oh,
speaker.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. 1 second. Sorry, I forgot about that. So Tom, okay, there you go. Okay, Tom, I think error in using microphone. I don't know why. I have enabled it from here, Tom. I don't know if you can speak, but it does give me an error. So give me 1 second. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't seem to let Tom speak, even though I have enabled it from here. So let me, yeah, Tom, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's you. Oh, July 19th. Okay, so you are saying after that number, is there market closest strike in back month strike?
Bring up the option chain on the Excel spreadsheet first. Then we can see what
Yeah.
is what. Go to clean sheet. Go to clean sheet.
So,
Clean tab.
so you have MSFT here, right? Then you have a function called strike next. And let me go until here now first, and then let's see what Tom is asking for. So on July 19th, okay, so on July 19th, so I need to see if there is an option here for me to provide the expiration date. Oh, there you go. There you go. So you see this expiration date. So what you would type here is 20 expiration date 2024 dash 07 dash 19th, right? So that is the expiration date. And now you are looking at first 4 expiration. Okay, closest strike in the back month. So the closest strike, yeah. So so Tom, that's how you do it, right? So you give it the expiration date within the strike next function. Now it's only filtering out from all the strikes in this expiration date. And here you could give it the number, which with the near, you could say near, let's say 450, right? Or you could actually, use the index. I don't know if this will solve your what you're trying to do, Tom.
Ankur, first bring in for Microsoft, bring in the entire option value so you can see all the different dates and the thing.
Okay, 1 second. Underscore option change.
Yeah. Okay. So now you have everything in there. And now let's go down to July 19th in here when it shows up. You got too many things open, that's why.
Okay, this is my development machine, so maybe it's not the best idea.
Yeah, yeah. Mine came
Look,
right away. Oh, there it is.
there you go. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to close this one here. So let's go to July. We're going to filter it out. I'm going to stop the streaming for a second here. So stop the streaming. Okay. Now you're looking at July 19th here with the filter. I'm going to home, filter, filter,
That's why it
filter.
is row. Oh my, that's a long one.
Yeah. Let's go back to the top. Or filter it out.
July 21. That's row 8,000. Oh my God, that's a lot of options.
Yeah. Price, expiration date. Let's look at July 19th. That's the one. Okay. So in the July 19th, these are the strikes here.
Yeah, what I'm finding is, Ankur, if you do the strike next, it all automatically goes to the next one. Sometimes it is only half a point away, sometimes it's 1 point away.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let's see if we have any answer. That solves it. Okay. Perfect. Sure. Thank you, Tom. Okay. Perfect. So let's look at some more other things that we have been working on. Just to kind of update you a little bit. Yeah, I mean, if you another thing is if you have anything, any ideas with regards to this ChatGPT integration, right? If you would like to see the results in Excel, or how would you like to see that? Let me know as well. Support at marketxls.com. We could, it's very the start of our AI journey, but I believe that AI would be hugely important for us to be able to make sense of all the numbers which you see, a lot of numbers sometimes that you see, right? So there are some limitations to uh, the number of rows that you can put in to the chat GPT right now. But as the models start becoming better and better, it'll be, of course, a lot of data it can consume and give some insights. So yeah, but then from our side, it is a very light integration in terms of it's a direct communication between you and that chat GPT system. And as we develop some of our own AI agents and models, we'll be able to, there'll be no need for any additional cost as well. It'll be all done from us only. So yeah, that's more or less what we have been working on. Another thing which I wanted to kind of talk about is in this new version, we have created like a button here to create an example sheet. We will not be using the spreadsheet builder, but the example sheet is going to be much better and faster. And also, if you're not using our stock rank functions, you might want to try them out, right? So the way this works is if you go to features on the MarketXLS website and you go to stock ranks, so what we do is on a daily basis, we look at all the historical data and we analyze these stocks on various metrics on three primary elements: value, technical, and quality. And you can actually download our paper, which has the description of how we rank the stocks, right? So if you were to look at, this document, which is available on the website, you can see how we, use the PE ratio, the price to book ratio, EV to EBITDA, and dividend yield, and other metrics like V score, Danish M score, F score, 5 years of revenue growth, profitability growth, and also some of the technical indicators like volume averages, RSI, MACD, to get one number from 0 to 100, which determines the rank on a stock, right, on all these three parameters. So these functions are not only available, I mean, like this analysis is not only available on the website, but they are also available in your Excel sheet, right? So I'm going to show you that real quick. But you see, these are the top ranked stocks, which we kind of calculate every day. And then you can, review these uh, individual tickers as well, right? Let me quickly show you while I have you here, how do you use these functions in your Excel. So essentially, if you have a group of stocks here, these functions are equal sign stock rank, right? Or you just start look at rank, start typing rank, and then you would see these functions. One is your rank overall, other one is rank quality, other one is rank technical, and other one is the value, right? So if you were to just type this function rank overall and give it the stock ticker, you will get a number out of 100, which essentially, in a way, a weighted average of three individual ranks. So you can use these functions as well, and I think they might be of some use to you. Another thing which I wanted to quickly show you is the screener, which is not being used too much, but I would encourage you to have a look at that, right? And this screener is available on the website, and we are also working to whatever saved screens that you have, they'll be available in your Excel as well. But essentially, the way this works is you simply give it a indicator, and then give it your rule. I want market cap to be greater than 8,000 million or 8 billion, and the bid price greater than less than 60, right? So sorry, greater than 60, and it returns a bunch of stocks here. And you can actually click on save here to immediately get that report into your Excel. And also you can add these stocks or selected stock to your watch list, right? So as we go, and of course you have probably an account with MarketXLS, so you log in here, and then you would be able to save this to your watch list, right? You can also save your screen here, anything that you do, and once you save your screen, eventually we are working to make sure that these are available in your Excel as downloadable stock list as well, right? But it's pretty straightforward to get started. You simply log into the website. I mean, you don't even have to log into the website to use the screener, but to save a screen so that you can come back to it on a regular basis and then check, if this, what has changed, then you would need to log into the account. But then you simply start looking at various metrics. We have all the metrics from balance sheet, earnings, growth, volatility, price, return functions, and even the ranks, the stock rank functions, return functions. So all you do is select multiple parameters here and add, and then you simply say, okay, I'm looking for this to be greater than, maybe 20% here, right? And press enter, and 3-year to be greater than 25%. And then once you do that, then you should ideally get you the answer. Should be greater than, I think, here. See? Yep. So there you go. Right. So you can. It's pretty good screener, like stock screener. So it actually right now works for all the U.S. stocks. And then we are working to make sure that once you save these filters, right? Let me just show you. When you save this filter, you can actually give it a name, right? So you can say, Okay, this is my stock stocks with greater than 25% with 25% yearly return. Just a name, right? And you give it the description. The good thing is now you have three options, right? You could say that I want to keep this screen private for me, right? I don't want anybody else to look at that. So you simply select private, right? So only when you log in, then you are able to see this screen. Or you could select something like public, right? Which basically means once I save this change, it returns like a URL, which is like a public URL. And you can share that URL to anyone who even might not be using MarketXLS, right? They would be able to see the screen. Or you could say, okay, I have a group of people who I want to share it with, then you can do a team, right? So let me do this as a public URL right now. So once I do that, now it gives me like a URL. This URL becomes a public URL, and anyone can actually go and see this data.
Ankur,
Right?
can you put this link URL in the chat, please, so people can click on it?
Yeah. One second. I just pasted this link on the chat. Okay. So another thing I wanted to quickly talk about, if you have any references or if you think that anybody in your group or any friend of yours would probably take advantage from using MarketXLS, then we would like to, get the reference. So if you could tell your friends about it, that'll be great, and you know, uh, we'll make sure that they get started easily. I want to also talk about uh, economic indicators. I don't know, we have not seen any huge usage, but if you're looking for economic indicators, then they are also available in your Excel by default. And the way to use them is simply if you go here and just start typing what you're looking for. So, for example, in the case of this one, I'm going to try unemployment rate here, right? And when you say unemployment rate, it works in multiple ways, right? So if you just do like you know start it and you start the parentheses and close the parentheses, then you get all the values as they are, right? But then you could also say, you know what, I'm not looking at all the values, I'm only looking at 5 values, right? So you can write another function here which would say something like unemployment rate, and I'm looking for only 10 values. So this way, I'm going to get only the first 10 values, right? There are various other ways to get the same information, like unemployment rate, which is when you search for the function and you search for unemployment rate here. Okay, I need to probably look at other one here. Let me go to the website real quick. So if you look at functions and if you search for unemployment rate, so you would see various possibilities of using these functions. So for example, this unemployment rate will return 6 observations. You can get the current status of the function. You can get what was the unemployment rate on a specific date. Then you can use something like LP for last period, LP minus 2 for last period minus 2, right? So there are various ways to get the what do you call it, economic functions as well. And another thing I would want to maybe just update you on is the blog, right? So we are actually putting up a lot of blogs and templates on a regular basis. So if you want, feel free to read some of our blog posts. And another thing is, if you want to submit your template on MarketXLS, send us the template, right? It might help somebody else. If you have like a basic template or use case that you think that you're trying to solve, and it might help some other users as well, feel free to send it to us, and we can describe it nicely and put it on the template store for everyone to download, right? So some of the templates we have done recently are this one, like the market pulse dashboard, which looks at various sectors, looks at various ETFs and tells you real time how it is doing today versus over different periods of time, and what's going on with the volume and dividend yields and so on and so forth. We also have created, of course, an option chain template for SPY. Um, and then there is this unusual option scanner, right, which tells you what is going on. Let's say you have identified a stock and you want to find out, okay, in this stock or in this ETF or the index, give me the options which have the highest change in the open interest from the previous day, or give me all the options which are expiring in this date, but they are like very high volume, So all those, this template is possibly a very useful template, so you might want to have a look at that one. And of course, we have been adding more and more templates. But if you have a template and you want to share it with us, feel free to send us an email. We will make sure that it's all clean and everything, and then it can help some other users as well. Right? Okay, and so then let me log out from here. There is an option profit calculator which we had prepared, right? Now this one uses the Black-Scholes option model and then helps you create an option strategy on the website. So feel free to use that as well. And all you have to do is log in with your username and password, and then you will be able to use the Black-Scholes option model. And we are also adding the Black-Scholes option model in the local Excel version so that you don't have to wait for the answer to come from the server. So it's like pretty fast. Okay. Okay, let's see if there are any other questions. Okay. No. Okay, so I think that was mostly it from my side. We are almost online for about 1.5 hours now. So we plan to do more such webinars in future. We want to work with you and gain your feedback, of course, to improve our solution and also help each other. So if you like, such kind of a format where we conduct regular webinars, between the groups, so we can, learn and we can grow together, and then, you can suggest what all you need, essentially in your spreadsheets to get things done faster and better. Let us know, and especially if you like this kind of format and the webinar regular events. So let us know, and that'll be very encouraging. Okay. So, any other question from anyone? No. Perfect. If there's nothing else, thank you very much, all of you, for your time today. I really appreciate that. And you have a very good rest of the day, evening, and we will hopefully catch you soon. Anything else you need, our email support@marketxls.com, and we are looking forward to serving you. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ankur.
Thank you.
Everyone.
Thank you.